Uh,
What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing today, Steve?
It's been another pretty good week. Busy as shit as usual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know how life. Oh, you got an invader, but we'll let him. We'll let him.
Do you want to come sit on this one with us? Okay. All right.
He's got. We got a lap guest.
Oh.
Lap guest. What's up, Colton?
All right. Let's get cozy.
Get all your screen before we get going too fast on this Joker.
All right, we ready, Colton? You ready to start this episode of Real Talk Vlogs? Say hi. Say hi. You got to say hi.
Hi.
Say it louder for me.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. And welcome back. It's another week has passed, and it is that time again for Real Talk Vlogs with Jack and Steve. On this week's upload, we are going to talk to a very special veteran of society, community, legacy, possible brand if he can monetize on it, Mr. MeowS4, also known as Robert Boomer, not Boomhauer, Mr. Boomer. Some of you might have lost to him at some point in a Corvette that he was racing down wherever in Mexico. Maybe you raced him in his B5, legendary B5 S4. I've heard so many stories. Or it was recently in an E36 and you kicked his butt. But we will get to that sooner than later. But first we got to talk and get up to date with Steve Melling and see how his week has been. And then we'll try to trickle back to me and we'll figure it out. I have ADD and this rabbit hole gets real. Oh, and we can...
Say the rabbit hole pretty deep.
Dude, it does. On this show, on Real Talk Vlogs, all we do here is talk shit, think about some shit, go down some really deep rabbit holes, and I apologize. I just realized I have a kid in front of me. Is shit a bad word? Say it. You can say it. Say
Yeah.
It's a bad word.
It's a bad word.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Steve, how you been?
No, it's been a busy week, but I am here. We are here recording the Real Talk Vlogs podcast. I have done some things with Project Snowball.
Ooh, how?
I have done some things with the laser, and I have done some things with the hibiscus. So we'll start with the spicy biscuit. I took it to a shop because, I'm busy in my day job. And having an axle rebuilt and put back in it. Because apparently AO3s plus sticky tires plus drag strips, I let an axle go. Turns out up there. I'm having the wiper motor replaced to see if I can give up on race car status. And with Project Snowball, I bought some parts. And we're going to leave that until another podcast of its own, but I bought some parts.
Okay.
And then the laser...
Hold on.
As you know,
Stop. I got to stop you. This is where we cut in. If you want to know more about what Project Snowball is, check the links or one of these cards that we'll put in here, around here somewhere in the description below, and you can get up to date on an old podcast that mentions Project Snowball. Go, Steve.
All right, and so the laser, you know that I have acquired relatively clean harnesses, and we were going to replicate them to create new harnesses for our old 2.7 powered cars.
Yes.
New parts, new components. Because the availability of them is bad. Like, they're just not really out there. So I acquired two that probably shouldn't have gone back in cars, and I could use parts from them. I could get the part numbers off of. I could pull lengths of wire. I could use to make a equivalent jig. So I got an early model harness and a late model. I took both of those up to Maryland Motor Works that has the laser so that he could make a harness.
Yeah.
That car needed some love. And
Cold.
I don't want to downplay any shops.
Let's go.
because it's hard work, but the wiring has been put off a bunch, and so we're finally getting around to that and not playing around with jumper wires and not trying to sort out pinouts and not. I'm having it done by somebody that knows what they're doing, so I can drive the car.
So basically what you're telling me is you're getting rid of all the aftermarket unknowns of all the whatever, and you're just starting from scratch.
Essentially, yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It's kind of like the NASCAR motto. A buddy of mine just told me, he was like, in NASCAR they say, when in doubt, just pull it out. If you can't...
Yeah, and like, it's one of those things like that. The laser has there's been a lot of projects based in that. Alright, so it was a fast tip car, it was a fast stock turbo car, it was a fast basic bolt-on car, fast or not, whatever, like, we pushed it in every step. Okay, put this part on and see what we can do with it. Put this part on and see what we can do with it. And, a lot of rewires, a lot of pigtail swaps, the harness is old, and it's time to do it right.
Yeah. It's not even that...
It's not a cheap proposition.
Well, and that's the thing, though, man. I mean, it's not like it's been molested, but at the same time, it's been revised so many times. Okay, you're at final. Here's what we need. Here's what we don't. So that's good stuff.
I've had some pretty extensive conversations with the guys at the shop about what I need to keep and what I don't need to keep, and what's important and what the goals are of the car. And I'll be honest with you, I've never really been this focused with what I want out of a machine at any point. And so we're coming really close to the tail end of a long project, and I'm super excited.
I'm excited that you're excited. I can't wait to race it.
But so that's enough about me, though, because it's an ongoing tale of an undone job. But what's the week been in Jack's life?
Started recording Audi TT things for timing belt work. That was kind of a droggy ongoing. Had to cross some T's, dot some I's, things like that. Miss Kitty.
Is that for your DIY series on your YouTube channel?
Yeah. That's for the Rowdy Audi DIY services.
Right on. It's a good series to follow for anybody that's interested in doing all your own maintenance. Check out the Rowdy Audi channel, and he's got a lot of how-tos and whatnots to follow.
Whatnots. There's some interesting travel vlogs mixed in there where we go visit Steve over in Virginia. We drove an 86 Rex in that trip. Go to Grid Life, break a transmission, go up Pikes Peak, watch chips explode in the car, all sorts of weird stuff. But, kids, I started taking Colton to the skate park. So, like, we've been doing scooter things in the skate park, right? And he's, it's what, I have ate shit on the internet more times lately in the past week than I have. He caught me on camera.
Is the skate park full of kids with cell phones that are recording every you don't know how to do on your skateboard?
No, they are not that bad. They're not feeling Cindy. I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks,
Yo,
man.
is that one of those S4 Race War shirts?
Yes, it is. Listen, I forgot the biggest headache of my week. So, I have the logo on the back of this shirt. I'm going to stand up and turn around for a second. The logo. That logo.
Right.
Yeah,
I see it.
That logo has been flagged by Printful as copyright infringement.
Shut up.
And so our store is essentially shut down because I don't have any products. We have our old logo that essentially looked like, if you look at the front of a 2.7 crank and bent all the rods to look like an R and a W.
Right.
Right?
I can see that happening.
But even that shirt has the red S like, I'm pointing at my shirt because it's not there, but like as the official Audi S4 logo as the top half of it, so I can't use it either. You know,
What?
So the reason, you know, the red
Yeah.
S4 was the top of the S4 Race Wars logo. For
Yo, they're taking copyright infringements like to another level.
Yeah, so I have filed for trademark on the logo on the back of this shirt.
Do it.
I have filed for the application. I filed the application.
Good
and it's
for
passed
you.
It's passed the initial like approval search, right? And they have requested specimens of products sold. So like I essentially have to submit pictures of the tickets that we sold with the logo on it and advertisements for our event to cover the services side of S4RW. And then I have to submit pictures of the coffee mugs and the shirts.
Yo, I will put I got a coffee mug.
Okay, so like I got all of this stuff that I've got to submit like documents on what we've sold and what we haven't sold. Not in-depth details, but like, hey, this is what we have available. These are the products we've produced as a company thus far. And so I'm waiting. I've got some more work to do, but yeah.
Yo, that's cool.
I'm not trying to have my entire business shut down. And I mean, over what I thought was an original enough logo that I drew myself.
Dude, that's cool
at
though.
my desk.
That's cool.
You know. So I mean, it's I know what it is. It's simple, okay? So I'm not trying to take credit as like a graphic designer or anything, but it is mine.
I get it. Like it's some bullshit, but like because you didn't, somebody out there can shut you down because you don't already have that. No, motherfucker, I made this. This is mine.
Yeah. So we went through a similar thing of a little while ago with the 2021 event shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Because our logo had the letters AUDI in them. Not the same font, not the same color, not the same spacing, not the same sizing, but because the letters were the 4 letters of a trademarked name, it got shut down. So we put a 1. It was like AUD1 on your, so that we didn't get delayed in our ability to sell apparel for this year. What are you taking notes on, bud?
So in my life, I've recently contacted an attorney, a whole business department on Rowdy Audi Productions, because my YouTube channel is coming up to that monetization point of where I can monetize on platforms. So the wheel is turning, and these are things that I'm talking to. Well, long story short, the fact that you already had a problem with just the term Audi, and with the volume of drop shipping and different types of monetization methods and ways that I can grow Rowdy Audi as a brand as well, not just making podcasts and talking, if they're stopping it on this front for you already, if I'm going down the legal rabbit hole of incorporating Rowdy Audi Productions as a digital content creation machine of all avenues.
And the thing is I'm so surprised that they stepped in. Let's be honest. I am super small scale.
Right, I am too. But is it the association with both icons and logos on the same thing? And that's what I question.
I don't know what the flagging system is. As most of our listeners may know by now, I work in construction.
Yeah, but
I deal with dollars and the cents.
Okay.
So like I don't know what the algorithms or the searching engines or the search shit that Mark Musk has floating out there, but
so my background here, I'm not going to cut you off, but my background is a little bit more technical than Steve's as far as technology goes. Mine's in network infrastructure and design and security stuff. So I know a little bit about it, not a lot, but a little bit. Enough.
the stuff over your right shoulder probably explains to all of our viewers that you're a little bit more into tech, with giant air quotes there for the listeners, than I am.
Maybe.
I should make an investment in box fans just looking at your background right now. I know. But
Any rate, I'm willing to bet in their AI system, they don't give a shit about. The AI can tell the difference between words and like shapes, right? Because all a letter is a shape, right? Are you having problems?
No. I'm
Taking notes?
I see you.
Oh.
Over there.
So anyway, the AI is looking at a shape. Well, a shape that looks like such form based on, pre-made data of all the type of fonts in the world, and it says, oh, well, we associate these two together. You can't have them in any font. Audi probably has that but Audi as a word is probably what's copyrighted. Not fuck the font.
As part of the trademark application, I had to submit what colors were in our logo. Okay, so there's a significantly more expensive option for your logo in all colors.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how much is a difference? We talking $100 or a couple 100,000?
No, it's not that scale. It was more than I wanted to spend as Steve.
Huh. All right, guys. Well, hey, not Steve. I'm not going to cut you off, but on that bombshell, it is 7:05, and we still haven't called Mr. Robert Boomer. I want to call him Boomhauer so bad.
Stop that, man. When you thought I cut off, I was trying to check in with our man.
Oh, okay, cool.
What I need to do here is add Mr. MeowS4 to our
call.
Video call that we've got going on here.
Yeah, our Discord chat. Yo, on a side note though, you and I are going down some very interesting rabbit holes at some very interesting times. So, I think that's...
Jack, we're going to disconnect and reconnect with a three-way, and then I can kick him out of the call. So,
yo, is he...
I'm still learning this Discord.
No, I think we can do that. Hold on. Don't kick it yet. Let's see if I can add him. I think we can add him. Without...
There's a button at the top that says add friends to DM, right?
Yeah.
And you click that, and it tries to kick us over to another group message we had before. So essentially, are you texting me now?
No.
Somebody else. I saw you look at your phone. Anyway, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna say goodbye to you for 30 seconds, and then I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hang out right here. I'm adding him to a group. Nope, I can't. I'm not even a friend with him. So. Oh, hello.
Hey. So it's giving him the call right now.
That was pretty seamless, actually.
Oh, it looked good on your end?
Yeah, it looked really good. It went like instantly, doom. There you go.
So essentially right now, his Discord is ringing. I think he was going to tuck his kid in or something, but that father duties.
Yeah, you gotta do it,
I'm not trying to put too much of a
Dude, is this a typo? Oh! Look who it is.
Look, he's muted.
You're muted, sir. Man, look at those baby blue eyes.
I like the E36 in the background. Oh, he's making funny faces.
What? I think he's trying to talk to us right now, and he doesn't understand. He has no audio. Are you muted, sir?
No.
Oh!
Yeah, it works fine. We just have to not talk over each other in this wonderful app.
So in Discord, there's actually a sensitivity bar for that. Believe it or not. But... Oh, nice shirt! Hey. Alright.
I'm enjoying all of his surroundings. For anybody that's not watching, Mr. Boomer has a red E36 BMW in the background. In the foreground, what appears to be a single turbo equipped Audi 27T. And I swear, if those two things get put together in the near future,
please do it. Please do it. No one will let me do it.
Close back here, there's a LQ4 iron block LS truck motor and a little Miller welder too.
Nice. All right, so for those of you who are watching, we've already been BSing. For all the listeners, we introduced Mr. Robert Boomer earlier in the intro, but AKA MeowS4, you've had a lot of, Steve has given. Yesterday, Steve and I had a very interesting soiree of a story that he told. But just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. They already know you're one of the OG family members, founders of S4 Race Wars. I heard you guys you're one of those who came in like I did and said, "Hey, you should do instigate things." You were the instigator of the group. It seemed like.
A little bit, yeah. If I'm the instigator, then Steve is the shake things up and puts them into place to make sure they happen.
That's funny. I would definitely agree. Steve, definitely, when you need something done, it's like, okay, here. He can coordinate all the logistics easily.
Yeah. So early on, we didn't pull all the way back to Audi scene days where we were asking people where we wanted to have an S4 meet with B5 S4s or 2.7 powered stuff. Audi things. We had E36 guys show up early on. Mustangs, Camaros too. It's just kind of it was a good party, and it kind of centralized itself in this Pennsylvania area. We were generally in Pennsylvania a lot. We hit Virginia and we came over to Ohio, and that seemed to be a good spot. West Coasters just never really dragged us over there. We never crossed over the Rockies to do anything big, and you're about as far west as we really go.
Yeah, you should come out here more often. You should definitely come out here more often. Steve was also telling me, though, you have a lot more roots than just B5s. You came last year to Race Wars with a Tesla Model Y, right? No, Model X. Model Y. Okay, I'm sorry. I know this much about Teslas, and they're all cool things. I know I want a Model 3. I want to buy an entry level for a swap. Sorry. He's talking.
Too many cars. I'm averaging 2 cars per year of driving since 16 to now. Early 30s, I'm averaging about 2 cars a year. Started with DSMs. DSMs were easy to wrench on, turn up the boost, make a lot of power with the 4G63. And I was on a forum, one of the how-tos, not only had the how-to, delete your restrictor in your boost control solenoid.
Oh, the pills?
There was a section there about the efficacies of modifying cars and how you become a car person. And so I was indoctrinated with this document. And it at the start of it, it said, read until your eyes bleed. And I did.
I can totally vouch. I mean, obviously, our interactions go back to essentially just the Audi Zine days. And when I joined Audi Zine so very long ago, I believe you already had your RS6 car, and we had discussed Tiptronics at Race Wars a year, and it was nice to hear somebody else was tuning Tiptronics or messing with them a little bit, at least at the time.
2 stock turbo Tiptronic cars, various levels of performance. My wagon was probably the most fun. That did single bipipe kit on it, which was made locally in Ohio. It had big SRM intercoolers on it. It had old school DAS screen.
Good old Daz.
Wasn't actually the infamous tune named after me, but it was an actual DAS custom tune.
Nice.
For that computer.
Yep.
It's tune on it too. The thing ripped and was absolutely awesome. Popped up for sale locally actually as a partially done 6-speed swap car. And I was really tempted to pick it back up.
But why didn't you?
Just my Santorin, and then my truck is needing some work too. So 2 projects going at once is tough, along with living life with family and job and house.
Yeah.
Being a big grown up out of the rental life and into living at home and raising a family is changed my perspective on what it really means to have project cars. So,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't really understand with the family aspect of stuff, but I can understand the expenses of multiple projects, and Jack can understand the expenses of the family life. And I can tell you, in terms of the racehorse history, it's been great having you out so many years and maintaining the involvement with that through family stuff. But back to any cool projects going on at work that you can discuss. I know you do some fun stuff there.
Yeah, I had a job change up. Some of you may know I used to work for Ford, and now I'm GM. They say hashtag I'm GM, and I'm really enjoying that. A lot of what I'm working on is very advanced stuff, so we can't really talk about it too much. The electrification and the drive for electrification, and I've kind of been about that life for a little bit now, a little bit over a year. Actually, walk the walk. I wanted Tesla and started buying Teslas. I think that's the next big thing for us.
Give us a little story or a little idea of how, for anybody that doesn't know, Boomer left the B5 life. I don't know how permanently, but
Yo, do you own a B5? Fat question. Do you own a B5? Is there one lurking in your closet anywhere? You have half of one.
It's a solid yes, Jack.
Okay.
B5 with the Mercedes drag radial sitting in the car.
Okay. Just checking. Making sure there's one lurking someplace.
Do you have that one? That one's registered and titled in my name. It is legal. It is mine. So that's my car.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So wait, the B5 things, Boomer, give us a little bit about Model Y mods. What's going on with that, and how did that come to be?
This is a way for my wife and I to come together in our regions, like cars, modifying cars, and doing a little bit of social media, photography, videography, editing, that kind of stuff. And she went to school actually for media and arts, as well as communication. So
that's cool.
She's been doing social media as a career now for almost a decade for various organizations. Mostly she's worked on the church side of things. That's where her passions lie. And so we combined to this Model Y mods idea, and we've been trying to pull some of the typical community that modifies Corvettes and Audis, BMWs, and what have you, your normal ICE internal combustion cars, pull them over and say, hey guys, we need to be making suspension components, coilovers, wheels that are made for these cars that are lightweight but large in diameter so you can get thin tires on them and whatnot. And kind of pull in that aspect of the car community to electric cars. And there's a lot of pioneers out there that went there before me, and I'm just doing it because I think it's an absolute blast with this car. I picked probably the slowest of the performance models. The Model Y is the slowest out of all of them as far as performance goes. But I think it still has a ton of potential. Out of the box, it ran a 12.0.
I know. At Race Wars last year, that car, or it was pretty cool because it was like a 12.01, and then a 12.02, and then a 12.02, and then a 12.02, and then a 12, and like I don't know how many passes you ended up doing, but it was probably 15, and they were all within about maybe a tenth. I don't know how much you lost at the end of the day, but they were all so tight. Bracket racing champ car for sure.
It's a fantastic bracket car. You know what it's going to do. It's a perfect index car too. Now I've been itching to go on Rocky Mountain Race Week or Drag Week, and with what happened over the last 2 years, since December of 2019, it crashed those plans to try and get to one of those events. Wanted to do it with the B5 really bad and prove everyone that you can go drag race at B5 for a whole week and not break it.
I'll go with you. Let's go.
And that itself into, let's do it with the Tesla, and I'm seeing a couple guys out there race week with Teslas now and proving that it's totally reasonable, but it's hard to get into that event. You got to be either a past runner of the street event, which is where you follow the race around and don't actually do the drag strip. Then you get a priority to get in on racing the next year. That seems like an absolute waste of my time, but it would at least get me in the next year. So lots of plans with those, but yeah, the Tesla gig is absolutely a blast.
Yo, I'm still in to do it with you.
You essentially brought it to the drag strip, raced it, turned on the camp button or whatever Tesla speak is, and lived in it overnight, and then drove back to Michigan from Ohio.
Yeah. Actually, it's a long drive down there. I left after work, I think it was that Friday night or something like that. Drove all the way down there, and I got there at like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. And I talked with the track owner, and I said, "Hey, I'm on charge the Tesla," and he's like, "Yeah, here you go. Here's where you can charge." And other tracks have rentals too. You can usually rent like a 220 if there's a bigger track. But that night when I got there, I actually camped and slept in it while it was charging too. So when I woke up in the morning to drag race, we had 90% battery ready to go, and ripped all day.
Technicality question time. I'm sorry to interrupt here, but if you're camping inside your Tesla and you're intoxicated, can you get a DWI if it's plugged in charging? Because doesn't the key have to be on for that system to work?
We're getting into some weird state-specific laws.
Like that's just
operating. What's considered operating definitely varies by state, right? And what about cars that don't have a turn key? You just hit the button to go into accessory mode.
Exactly, but if in Missouri, if your car is on in accessory mode and you're not, it don't matter if you're in the seat or not. If it's on and you're sleeping in it, like they'll pop you for it.
Yeah. This is why I don't drink here in my car.
Sorry, random thought.
But,
anyway,
you can't drive with it plugged in. So if they walk up to the car and it's plugged in,
that's pretty good.
It's not drivable.
There you go.
It's a stationary object. It's immobile.
There you go. So, if you're there we go. What we learned from this is, if you're camping, make sure to plug it in. If you're going to drink, that way no park ranger can say you're trying to drink and drive. There we go. That's what we've learned.
So we know that
you can move the app, but then is that drinking if you use summons while you're drunk? Because the phone moves the car.
Yeah, but you got to have intention, I guess, to drive it. So yes.
All of these laws are written around old archaic technology. The way of the.
Dude, do you remember the James Bond episode where he calls the BMW? They drive the BMW. Is that a yes? The thing cut out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, you have a B5 now. How many B5s have you had, and have you always had one or was there any point at which you did not have a B5?
Was a point where I did not have a B5 and over 1.5, 2 Tiptronics and 3 manuals.
Yo, what's that Tiptronic life? That fast Tiptronic life like? Like, I keep hearing that it's something I should consider.
For everyone, I enjoy the electric car for its simplicity and just having 2 pedals.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy my turbo truck for its absolutely raw, visceral speed. And for the Tiptronic, it's such a small car, you want to have that connection. You want to feel like one of these, right? And that's the end goal for me. I always want it to feel like a sports car. I don't want it to feel like a comfy car.
Gotcha.
I don't want an LS400. I want an M3. That sounds better.
Dude, I'm telling you, put the two together. You got them right there. Just put it in there, please. Just do it. I'll come help you.
I'm saying too much. I had tape measures out. I did a couple different calculations on it, where this would sit forward and back. The actual biggest concern is this boy is wide. The 2.7 is a wide guy. You can cut fenders and you can make room for things, but it does fit. It fits width-wise. It's perfect.
Yo, the way I look at it, if an LS fits, it'll fit. Because I've got an LS where 2.7 was.
Absolutely, the LS fits, no doubt. Those things are just absolutely tiny. They're narrower than some 4-cylinder turbo setups.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive. But this is dual overhead cam with variable cams, belt driven on the front. It has big cast iron manifolds from the factory on the side with big turbos that hang out from the side. You absolutely would have to do a custom turbo setup.
Oh, yeah.
To get it all there and whatnot. And then the transmission output becomes the question. What transmission do you use? If you use the O&E and you weld the center to make it rear-wheel drive, and
that's what I would do with it. And I'd probably swap the diff out.
You got to swap the diff.
Yeah, because you would have, as I just recently realized, you were the second person who brought that up to me, and it didn't really, I sat back all the drive home from Ohio to Missouri. I kept just thinking about, like, different components of my build, and I'm like, crap, that is real. Like, it never dawned on me.
You gotta also think how many car manufacturers have spent thousands and millions of dollars to perfect the differential direction, the way that it's rotating, why it's rotating it is, and what forces are pushing on it, and whatnot. And then Audi's like, nah, we will do it backwards. Why the output on it is backwards. It has to do with the O1E's all-wheel drive system and getting it where it is. So they put the output backwards and then
So,
the diff.
let me ask you on the... Sorry, I know this is completely sidetracked, but it's in the same ballpark. Knowing what I'm building, what would you use? Because I've heard, I got a list right here in front of me of a whole bunch of random cars that you have owned over the years. Okay? In your experience, sir, what rear end would you put in my car knowing that I still want to have half shafts in it?
You still want IRS.
Right. I've been...
E36, DR6060, or CD09? What's your trans?
Oh, I'm running a T5.
A T5? You're brave.
There's a reason. I have a reason. You want to hear the justification real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it's LS, right? On this side. And then it's got a 621 bell housing in the middle of it, which gives me that 4-bolt bell housing for anything from a T5 to a Munchie to a Saul something to a TKO 500, TKO 600. There are a dozen different manufacturers out there that I can just go into, from whether it's NASCAR or autocross, and buy a transmission that just bolts onto that bell housing.
It's really, really smart to think in that way and go, what are my options for cheap used stuff that I can rebuild and that is a fantastic option to do. And that's why I say for your rear end, do a Ford 888.
So I was like, Mustang one. There's like I don't know what year Mustang started putting IRS in the back of them. I feel like it was recently.
Might have been New Edge, or it might have been later SN95. I'm not sure what that body style.
I have an SN95 at the farm, and I know it. I'm pretty sure it's got one big solid rear dunker in there.
There are some of those. I'm not sure if it's like Terminator Cobra or certain Cobras that have the independent rear. You can actually go get a Ford Explorer independent rear suspension 8.8, and those, at least in Michigan, where I'm from, are a dime a dozen. They're just boatloads of.
What's a dime a dozen? Like literally, I can send you a dime, and it's going to cost me more to ship them all.
If you come here, I'll give you some beers, and we'll go get muddy.
Yo!
The local yards here where I'm at in town are all muddy. The Detroit area ones are a lot nicer.
I've never been up there. Never been there. I'm going to have to come visit.
Go for NOWO.
Wait, what?
Go up for NOWO.
When's NOWO? Wait a minute. Don't you put on NOWO too?
We helped start it with a couple close friends who were into Audis and Volkswagens, and we've been to H2O, and we've seen H2O and what it became, and
Sorry.
The real war through sea in Europe, and like we got to do this. We have this amazing community in Detroit of a lot of Eastern European immigrants, and they're either first, second, third generation. They still have a lot of heritage there. They like their Volkswagens and Audis and Mercedes and Porsches and stuff because it has some heritage to them. They respect it. They like it, the cars, and so we kind of built on that. We said, let's do something in a Bavarian themed town. In Michigan, we have what's called Frankenmuth. The whole town is decked out in a Bavarian theme. There's a couple water park things for tourist trap stuff for families, but
cool.
Zip lines and all kinds of fun stuff there. And we talked with them, and they do a muscle car show in the fall anyway, and it's huge. That muscle car show takes over.
Dude, when is NOWO?
It's almost always September. It's hard pressed because it usually butts up the week before or the week after resort.
Nice, good job, boys. Good job.
Absolutely miserable for us. Number one, it gets cold, and that's really hard. She has some autoimmune stuff that makes her get lots of pain when it gets cold.
Ooh.
So Michigan, when the temperature drops, the pain increases.
Yo, you need to move warmer climate.
On multiple weekends in a row for car stuff. It's just like, oh man.
You need to move down here where it's a little warmer.
Cincinnati, we like elevation changes. Kinds of stuff, warmer stuff. But we have family here. We've got roots here. It's hard to get away from roots.
That's valid. That's really valid. Megan and I have had that discussion several times about moving, exploring, seeing other, and she always comes back to, she has family here. I don't. I mean, I do, but I don't. It is.
So without too sad, I will say, if your parents aren't alive, and anybody listening, I want you to think about this. If they're upper 60s or however old they are, just kind of think how are they going to be alive, like statistically 80, right? My parents are upper 60s, so I got 10 years, 13 years with them, potentially until there's health complications or they pass away. And if I live 13 hours away, I might see them twice a year. And so that 13 years becomes seeing them 26 times, and that's a lot more real fast. 26 times is not a lot of times. It's
true.
It's rough.
That's some real talk vlogs.
My dad had a stroke about 10 years ago, and he's fortunately still with us. But that experience really brings to the forefront, I need to spend time. We need to spend time. And so last weekend, I went to a concourse event. Prime opportunity to take some pictures of some really amazing cars. But I had towed a car for a gentleman who had entered, and he'd given me 2 tickets. And I was like, yo, I'm inviting my dad. And I ended up not getting the camera out of the van at all, and spending an entire day with my dad. Now, my dad had walked around with his cell phone, like, taking pictures of everything so he could scroll through because, like, in his mind, he's like, I'm older. How many more of these am I going to get out? So when I'm not able to get out, I need to be able to look at where I've been and remind myself of the memories I created. So 100%, I didn't expect this to go on this podcast, but 100% spend time with your folks,
Yeah.
You guys are part of my family, and so I want to make sure I spend time with you guys. And while we're doing one thing a year right now with race cars, I see you guys out there, and I don't want to say I'm jealous, but I'm almost envious. I see you participating in these things together, and I say that they're a close family. They do stuff together, and so I'm going to try my hardest to make it out in April for Wookiees with whatever I have going at the time.
I'll tell you, we can talk about this off podcast, but I will tell you, as part of the Wookiee setup, we rented a house off-site with a 2-car garage outside of our campsites because we understand that there are families that want to come do this stuff. And, if you've got a family member with health problems or you've got a young child that can't necessarily be involved with every single activity that we've got going on, we're trying to bring the community together, whether we're, planning the event as a whole or we're participating in somebody else's event. We're trying to create an environment where people from all walks of life can come enjoy the car passion as a group. And so inclusivity is, it's a hot word right now, but reality, we've been doing this shit for years, and we're trying to keep doing it that way.
At the same time, Fontana has a mini. Most people don't realize, but they have like a putt course and a pretty BA kids playground set. Colton played on it back in 2018 when we were down there. So, bring the family, Boomer. Don't use it as an excuse. Is what we're getting at here. I'm sorry, viewers, but it did cut out for a second. So all I'm hearing is yes, yes, yes. I'll show up. Yes, I'll be there. Depends on which cut of this we use from either my clip or Steve's. Yo, I hear you're a bit of a tech nerd too. You like you're into.
Wouldn't own a Tesla if I wasn't a tech.
Yeah, I mean, how does that work? Because here, I have this macro idea of building Audi electric swaps so that in 2050 people can still be driving their B5 S4. Using 2020 electric technology.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of companies out there right now that are. It's you dream of getting Model 3 parts, and I'll tell you what I think is a good recipe is Chevy Volt batteries, Model 3 rear motor. Standalone controller for that, and then either a second motor or a setup where you can run a gas engine to recharge with. If you've seen recently, there's been a lot of popular things with towing a Tesla behind something and charging it with the regenerative braking. Apply this idea with let's say a Hayabusa motor. Trackside, you're running 14,000 RPM through the axle, through the motor that's already there, and you're charging your battery. So you're not running a generator, you're straight driving it and using the motor itself to charge the batteries.
Interesting.
Running a generator, converting it, putting it back into the battery, having it run through the charge because
You're gonna lose a bunch in in transfer. You're just gonna be losing everything. So wait, are you saying they're actually they're driving the wheels directly within?
really seen anyone specifically do this. I did see a Ford that came out that talked about trying to the idea of towing an electric trailer and basically charging up a vehicle with this trailer.
So it's a battery pack.
Yeah, it's like a
like a USB cable that you plug into your cell phone. It's like range.
It's just a range extender.
I feel like that would be a very bad idea.
It's elegant.
Sounds.
The beauty of those is you can turn it off, or you can turn the regen off. Like if you're towing a trailer behind you and you have it dragging and slowing you down, the more motors you have slowing you down, the more regen braking you can have, right? But the car can stop faster than potentially all of the regen, right?
So let me ask you a theoretical. If you were to cover an electric car with solar panels, what's the maximum power you think you could get? Nothing?
On the Michigan State University solar car team, it was an absolute struggle. Now, solar panels have improved in the last decade. They've gotten cheaper. Haven't really gotten that much more efficient for their surface area.
Okay, but still, I've seen that they make these like flexible silicon chip things.
If you cover the entire roof of my house, and I have a mostly like a 1,500 square foot single story roof. If you cover the entire roof of my house in Michigan with the amount of sun we get, you cannot charge my car for my daily use.
Wow. What's your daily commute?
It's a lot better now, but it used to be, I was at about 180 miles a day.
So what's that in kilowatts? Because doesn't Teslas use kilowatts as their fuel consumption?
I don't have the numbers in front of me to look at exactly what it is, but yours makes no difference to the entire battery. So,
okay.
85.
Oh, it was the whole battery.
Basically.
Wow.
When you're driving 70 miles an hour, you don't get 300 miles of range. Especially in winter.
Okay, so practicality, what's that like? Like, how bad can the economy really get? Like, they say it's 300 miles, but there obviously is that little asterisk, and 70 miles an hour is the average speed limit, so what are you going to do? You're going to be in the slow lane doing 45?
Right, so there's these different drive cycles that define the EPA numbers, and those have been developed out for years on gas vehicles as to what those drive cycles look like that give you city MPG and highway MPG when you walk up to a car and buy a new car. It tells you 25 city, 40 highway. And you go, why? And you go, well, it's your different driving, right? You know, your four-cylinder is just not that great at putzing you around town, but it's fantastic at a steady state condition where they've optimized for 70 miles an hour, that RPM is perfect, that fueling is perfect, that temperatures are perfect, and that the aeros is best it possibly can be given the styling department kind of provides. And that's, I think, where Tesla comes to the forefront is they're kind of okay being how they look. People like them if they like them. Other people think they're ugly. But they look the way they do because they're really slippery. They have this goober front end where it kind of dishes, and it looks like a catfish or something like that. No big grill. And it looks a little funky, but realistically, it looks like a Corvette or a Camaro stretched taller. Right? If you think of like the catfish Camaros, if you took the catfish Camaro and just stretched it, that's what the front of the
It looks
Tesla
kind of like a more Mustang, like the newer Mustang, that new EV Mustang. They have that same...
The EV Mustang, they tried to do the best they could to replicate the style of a Mustang while keeping it smooth.
Yeah.
Like there's a flat grill, there's very bubbly rounds, but still a Model Y slipperier than the...
Let me ask you, So I actually made a tweet about this a long time, about a month and a half ago. I said almost a long time, but I tweeted out that I was like, isn't it about time that we get a Tesla coupe? Like another one, like a remake. I think it's time. You know, something like a Model S with the doors chopped off and it's squished together.
The Roadster coming. The Roadster's going to be just bonkers.
Yeah.
Low weight, high power density, 2-seater. That thing's going to be rowdy, all-wheel drive. You know, it's going to just be insane.
Well, speaking of bonkers, as a good word of description, you recently heard that Ken Block signed with Audi, right?
And if he doesn't do a B5 Gymkhana, I'll be so mad.
Well, you know he used to be a B5 guy. He had a B5. He had a Mola Avant.
There's some classic B5 owners throughout history. Those of us who remember Bam Margera.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful nog. Absolutely gorgeous nog.
Tiptronic car.
It was a Tiptronic car. Probably easier to drive when you're drunk then.
So I bring up Audi. Go ahead, Steve.
I was gonna say with the Ken Block thing. I mean that's been a deal that's been in the works for some time. You know, when Unicorn or Hoonigan or what their channel is, when they did the tour of the Audi Museum like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
It was 2 years
Seeing
ago.
all of the classic Audis in one spot. I mean, I watched that video like 5 times, just drooling over the vintage stuff that we never got here.
Right,
And
right.
So seeing having a U.S. based, media presence with access to Audi's like dream collection, I'm very excited for what that brings.
So
I'm excited, but I'm not going to hold my breath because I've seen these transitions where big names switch brands, things fall off. You know, if you want to equate it to sports, you know, when superstar quarterbacks switch teams, is it the quarterback? Is it the team? Is it the franchise? What really happens?
So I'm with you, but I don't think there's going to be a downside here. Just with the level of growth that Hoonigan as a company mixed with Ken Block and what the HRD development team is all about, I think the hype that'll be built around it. Plus, Audi doesn't race really. I mean, so stopping.
Stop, Jack.
What?
Surprise! Racing is still legal. Racing with gas engines is such a showing of waste of energy to a lot of people, and it pisses a lot of environmentalists off.
But the
it doesn't
e-tron.
piss me off because I know the numbers. I look them up and I see what's the real actual usage. You can shut down a couple jet plane trips and take out all of what racing does. So, but it's public. It's very, very public. People who aren't car people watch it and enjoy it and participate in it and consume it. And that means it's going to get more scrutiny than the little stuff we do.
So, but Audi has an e-tron, okay? Recent upload. All right, I'm going back to this Ken Block thing here. Did you watch this upload of Hoonigan?
Love the intro. It is fantastically fun.
Okay. Ken Block describes it as an insanity amount of power. Like, it's insanity. Have you drove one of these things yet? I've seen them on paper.
I missed my opportunity.
Like 4 minutes ago, bro.
I lived down the street from the Porsche dealer in town. Literally.
Oh.
And they had a driving event for the electric. What's their version called?
Taken, Icon or Taken.
Yeah, they had that open for drives, and people were allowed to drive it. I don't know if they let it full power or whatnot, but I missed out on that opportunity.
Fail.
Yeah, I know. But I was doing some very important racing that day. So.
Were you at Race Wars?
actually silver, which I actually have had 6 E5s. That was number 6. I totally forgot.
It's awesome. I've only ever had 2, and I still have the same 2 that I've only ever had. So,
So, what? Let me ask you, why do you keep coming back to B5 S4s? Like, what is it that brings you back? You've got 6 of the same car, as Brian Scott would say, carcane addiction. Why?
Like an abusive relationship. It's not good for me, but it is at the same time. I get my fix out of it. The sound of the 2.7 is just amazing. And I've been tempted many times to do a VR6. When I was building the rods and hybrid RS6 car, it was really tempting to do a VR6, but I don't know. I just like the 2.7 sound.
If I end up pushing past the limits of the F21s, I'll put a set of RS6 hybrids on the laser. After experience with Ben's car and what that was capable of with essentially basic bolt-ons, yeah.
Ben's car's a ripper. That thing was yes. I'm honored to be one of the last people to have ripped that thing down the quarter mile. But Mr. Boomer, I wanted to call you Boomhauer so much, like just boom, put a picture right there. Sweet sir. What?
I was telling Mr. Boomer we have trivia.
Yes. With all of our guests, we like to flex your brain and see how good you are. We've done our research. We've done our diligence. We've done some background checks. These should be within your wheelhouse of intellectual property. Stored in that noggin. Oh, the audio is cut out again. Something's going on here.
Something is going on. I'm probably a little bit too far away. Am I allowed a 5 to 10 minute break here to do dad duties? My kid is going to bed right now, and he is very sad that he did not get his hug.
Oh.
Boomer, we will, you come back here in a couple minutes when you're done being a dad, and we'll finish out with the trivia.
Awesome.
Be right back.
Yep. All right.
I can totally get that. I can respect his dad, the duty of dad.
Oh, dude, I totally get it.
Oh man, I'm very excited to get to the trivia with it. It'll be our first. We'll brief the listeners, but so essentially, when Boomer gets back, we're gonna ask him trivia that is related to electric cars, or related to the electrification of cars. He's very passionate. Obviously, we discussed Model Y mods. For anybody that doesn't follow Model Y mods, go follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Model Y mods. MODS, Model Y mods.
It is now my job to insert post here.
But dude, he's been around a long time in like the S4 Race Wars fam, and he was there the day we were pulled over for visiting Mexico, and
can I ask Mr. Boomer about we're gonna ask him. I don't even care. I'm not asking for permission. I'm just gonna do it. Hey,
just ask him about his experiences in West Virginia with race. Ask him about his Race Wars experience in West Virginia.
All right, I will. Done. So before, hey,
Go ahead.
we talked about this in our pre-show a little bit, and we never touched in current events. This is a good time. I guess we could just wait our 10 minutes and talk about current events, things that are in the motorsporting industry. We already touched on it a little bit with Boomer, but yeah, Ken Block is now officially part of Audi. Congratulations. Huge shout out to you. Welcome to the family. I know you were there once before. You had a lot of passion there, but dude, that's wild.
B5 Avant on the salt flats.
Yo!
I'm jealous because as part of the Big Cali road trip, we were originally supposed to tow the race rig out and take the Lotus and the Laser and do that. So I've got plenty of photos of the van, the tow rig, in the frosty sunrise of the salt flats. But those are some sick shots, Mr. Block, of the Imola Bond, and I'm glad that you are back to the Audi fam.
Bro, I can't now.
But in other Volkswagen news, and it's related to electrification,
Yes.
we need to check what the proper pronunciation is, whether it's Rimac or Rimac, but Rimac Bugatti is now a company. Volkswagen
The mic's
has
off.
increased their ownership share of Rimac, and Rimac has taken possession of Bugatti in the trade. And so essentially, the luxury hypercar manufacturer Bugatti is partnered with the company that is making the fastest electric cars on the market. I can say that because Boomer's not on the call right now for his trivia moment.
Yeah, because later when he gets back, we actually have a question going into this, and it is, what's the speed? So, the Rimac Navara is 258 miles per hour. Like, that's a fast girl. There's something, wait a minute, hold on, I got something new here.
The mic's back on.
Steve, watch this. You can hear? Can you hear? Hey Google, what's the fastest electric car to date?
Here is some information from the web that might possibly help. On the website drivingelectric.com, they say, Tesla Model S Plaid, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 1.9s, top speed 200 miles per hour. The fastest electric saloon car here is the one that started it all, the Tesla Model S. The recently unveiled Model S Plaid is the
Shut
quickest
up. Hey
version of
Google,
the car
shut up.
yet.
Alexa. Thanks, Boomer.
The mic's
You
off.
got
All right, so
It's alright. She gave the wrong answer.
yeah, she gave the completely wrong answer because we didn't let her talk that long. But
Yeah.
no, we were talking about. So there's a bad joke going on, not joke even, but I have a tendency of having ADD during conversations, and I'll start Googling shit that we're talking about. So instead, I have a whole bunch of Google Home Minis. So I decided to bring one on the podcast so we can now just yell at, "Hey Google, da 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 da."
So if you ask something, it might set mine off.
Oh,
So I like the old school method of not being listened into, and I might be a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I like to type into my phone when I have a question.
yo, your phone. Have you seen what your phone sees?
I want to talk about. We're gonna move on from facts.
Okay, all right.
Turbo kits. Now I'll get ads for turbo kits.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
So we're gonna start.
Hold on. Dildos. Everybody's phone should pick up dildos now for the next 4 days.
Jack, you're an asshole, bro. All right.
It's better than butt plugs.
Trivia question number one.
I need a soundboard. I said I need a soundboard. This is why I need to get a soundboard. I've been talking about this. I was looking them up today. Okay.
I need you to hold on a second, Jack. Just slow your little brain down for a couple trivia questions. All right? Thanks, Boomer. I appreciate your patience, buddy. What was the first year that an electric car was produced? I'm going to give you an option. It's multiple choice. All right? So, 1932, 1974, 1988, or 1832?
1832.
Correct.
Ding, 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 ding. That's one.
Do you know who developed it?
The 1800s pioneer in electric.
It was a gentleman in his barn named Robert Anderson. Here's the question, Jeff.
What was that?
Was he British?
You To be honest with you, I didn't look that up.
Hold on, let me look it up. I'll check the heritage on Mr. Robert. I'll mute this thing and we'll find out while you guys talk on about the next
I
one.
like the way his lips move and no noise comes out. That's awesome. All right.
Oh, it's because I muted it.
Next question. What is the fastest electric car available today? The Tesla Plaid, the Rimac Navara, the Lucid Air Dream, or the Audi e-tron RS GT?
Plaid's going to be up there. Sort of low nines for them. The Rimac is up there. I think they've done very low nines, if not a high 8. And then I remember seeing Lucid crack into the 9s a while ago. They were super pumped about it, so I'm going to guess they're not into the 8s yet, because I probably would have seen it. So I'm going to say the Rimac is number 1.
Yeah, Rimac is the number 1. I actually wasn't looking by the quarter mile, but overall total speed. But Rimac is like the cream of the crop, the top of the top. I mean, that is a hyper.
Not quickest, so you got me.
Well, it is running 8.8.
All right.
Did you hear what recently happened with Rimac? The whole Volkswagen, Porsche. Oh, you need to go do some reading. So.
Well, you're going. We discussed that Rimac has acquired Bugatti and Volkswagen Automotive Group has increased their ownership share of Rimac. So up until recently, Porsche owned 10% of Rimac, and that share has gone up and to Volkswagen for ownership of Bugatti. And now there's a new car company, Rimac Bugatti.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's a great thing. Do you imagine? Think about it, though. Because now Rimac has the ability to dabble because Rimac is over here in the Volkswagen Auto Group, they can play with all the Porsche guys and all their fun tech and come over here and we get all their battery tech, too. I mean, who in the Volkswagen family really has electrical tech? I mean, there is Audis, but that's all this company did, you know?
They just have now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they bought a company that's all that they do is build those components, from my understanding. So, I mean, it's the way of the future. Oh, and he was born in Scotland. Robert Anderson was born in Scotland. His name became famous during the 19th century when he launched the first ever prototype of the electric-powered carriage using a non-rechargeable battery, also known as primary cells. Not from a Wikipedia. Okay.
Audio lighting up green.
Yeah, well, your window lights up green.
Wasn't there for a minute. I think it was probably because the who's talking or sensitivity or something like that.
That guy right there.
Oh. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna follow up with another trivia question here. What was the first year of the Audi Quattro? 1978, 1981, 1970, or 1980?
1978.
1980. You're pretty close though. So
I was thinking one of those championships had to come in the early 70s, and it was all in the 80s.
they're all in the 80s.
Yeah.
Is it like Lancia that was dominating in the late 70s?
Yeah, with the Stratos.
I think.
They had the 507, which was the little tiny, looked like the Ford RS. Anyway, there was a bunch of stuff in the 70s. It kind of surprised me. I thought it would be sooner. I also thought that Quattro would have been available sooner. But Audi was making front-wheel drive everything.
Dude, Audi made an Audi 50 This thing looked like I want one. They're so cool. I dare to say cute. I would buy one.
You got to say, at least with electric cars, they're not ridiculously tiny like that usually. Now, BMW does some really silly stuff with their tiny cars, though.
I'll pass. I don't like BMWs. I'm sorry. Just being honest.
Fun.
Okay.
Everybody's got their faults, Jack.
What?
I said everybody's got their faults.
Don't.
Have my
no.
S4. I can respect BMW for what they've done.
No, it's like okay, here's my problem. I'm not ranting on this, but I'm just saying everything after E46 is kind of a glorified pain in the ass to work on. There's a handful of E92 shit that I'll do, but as a whole, no. Everything under it, yes. So you got an E30, E46s, E36s, E whatever. If it's mechanical BMW, come chat with me.
It's because in the 90s and early 2000s, BMW cared about making their cars handle good and changing them to be that much newer. So a lot of the E30 stuff really similar to the E46 stuff. So this, late 80s, early 90s designs were kind of carried on through the early 2000s. And you'll see that recipe where it seems like a bad idea and then it ends up working. For instance, the small block, cam and block stuff that they're on gens pretty high up there. Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6 stuff for the cam and block. And it's not that different from the old 50s. It's really not. And that's what works for engines and cars and platforms.
I'm not dogging it. I don't want to have to learn all the tech that goes with it and all the nuances. I've already picked one platform of shit that I like to stick to.
The entire other set of tools. This blew my mind. When I bought the 1 Series, I could not believe how many new tools I had to buy. E-sockets and stuff and crazy different torque spits of different lengths and sizes, like super deep long torque spits that just really upset me when I get to a point in a project where I'm like, but it was a T25 Torx, but it needed to be this long.
Right. The Mercedes are that way. You want to change a door handle? Easiest door handle in the world, but the Torx needs to be this freaking long to get to the bolt that happens to be like on the other side. But you only got to take one bolt out and the thing pops right off. Like I get that. It was what I think it was like 2012 or 13. I started seeing on a lot of the newer Audis where like I was having to go. I got to get a 9mm to take these brake calipers off. What the hell is this? What's a 9mm? Type shit.
That's a problem when you go to the store, and I don't often like the big box car part stores. You go in there, and they have a tool that's called a brake caliper wrench, and it's two-sided. One side is a 10, and the other side is an 8. Because every single car from the history of the beginning of cars was a 10 or a freaking 8. So whoever put a 9 on there is evil.
No. It's a 9mm Allen. It's an internal. Yeah. Go do the back brakes on like a B9 or Q5s. Shit, like it's all 9mm. I do a lot of SQ5 brakes. Don't ask me why.
I did the rear brakes on the Q5.
Yeah, it's 9mm. Yeah. Dude, it happened twice on 2 different cars. Okay, if I'm wrong and it was just odd luck, then something's wrong here.
You're good, bud. Okay. Question number 4 on the trivia. What does the UR in ERS6 stand for? Is it first, early, start, or alpha?
Ten seconds.
The start.
UR means first. So
First.
ERS6 or ERS4 or Quattro is first. But it's alright, you're still 2 for 4. You have 1 left to redeem yourself. This is it. The last electric car trivia question we have. What is the most sold electric car to date? Is it the Tesla Model 3, the Tesla Model S, the General Motors EV1, or the Ford F-150 Lightning?
Can't wait for the Lightning, the F-150 Lightning. The 3 or S. The S has been out since 2012, 2011, 2012. It's had a longer run. It's had considerable more time to sell, but not quite as popular. I know the Model 3 really took over the Model, or the 3 Series sales relatively quickly, and they're selling them kind of worldwide. That's a tough one. I'm going to go with the Model S against my better judgment that the 3 is a better car, newer, cooler, and sold better in Europe. But I still think the longevity of selling the Model S's, they've been doing it for so long, that I think they've sold more Model S's.
Final answer?
This is a recent change. And you would have been right not very long ago. And so you do not earn the sticker for Trivia Champion. You are not trivia approved. And we've only had one winner. Okay, first off, we usually hit with the questions that seem easy but aren't. But the full answer is the Tesla Model 3 has recently surpassed 1 million units in essentially a year and a half, right? 2 years?
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Taken off and they don't advertise them.
No. Question about electric. Do you ever think that they might make a manual?
Christian von Koenigsegg, I can never pronounce his last name right. He's insane enough that he might do something like that just for fun. He'd just be like, yeah, whatever.
I think it's a great idea. So at SEMA in 19, I might be able to pop a picture up over this. There was a Mustang EV that they made as a manual. It was a prototype, and it would only, but no one was there to answer any questions about how this car worked.
So one of the earliest manual conversions I saw was a Bug-Eye STI, and it used a early Tesla Roadster motor, right? And they swapped it so it sat longitudinally and used the Subaru transmission. And the guy said that you had to push in the clutch and it disengaged the clutch once it was in gear and then push the accelerator, because there wasn't a clutch on the market that would fit the STI trans that would hold the torque of the super early onset of torque of the Roadster motor. So essentially there was a controller to allow the motor to match the revs that the trans needed to be in for the road speed.
It's almost like you would...
And then you have to hit the accelerator again once the clutch was, engaged.
Yeah, so it sounds like you would almost, if you were to theoretically do it, use a sequential box with a finger trick. What is that freaking? There's a trigger that's called for, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a feather trigger on your sequential.
Strain gauge.
Yeah, strain gauge. Thank you. I knew I couldn't remember what it was called for the life of me.
Why didn't you quiz me on what a strain gauge was? I could answer that.
But no, it'd be how would the disconnect feeling of a manual to an electric motor, what would it rev to? How could you rev it? What would, is there realistically...
Yeah, really interesting problem there. All the Teslas have a gear reduction, right? The Model Ys is about 9-to-1 gear reduction. So If you think of it, it's the motor is spinning really fast at your 130 mile an hour, right? It's
moving.
faster than that.
Yeah, that's wild.
But it has. Okay, maybe I'm just not bending my mind the right way to think about it. But, like, I mean, couldn't we still spin the transmission at like 10,000, 20,000 RPMs? I mean.
Absolutely. It gets really tough, though, with that kind of input shaft speed, right? That's why when you take a B5 motor and you rev it to $8,000, you probably run into problems with synchro stuff. And I had this problem on my personal car. I am not a great driver, so I'm not going to say that the transmission braking is necessarily an input shaft speed thing, but I rev higher than most B5 guys. There's only a handful of B5 guys, B7 guys in general that rev to $8,000, and I was at 7,900 on the ring. So in that case, you're looking at input speeds that are really, really, really high. Try and get gears to mesh and dogs to mesh at those high speeds is tough. You kind of almost have to gear reduce it before you go to an input shaft.
Is that even a thing?
Absolutely, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, at least the parts are there. So
Yeah.
why couldn't you limit your RPM range? So, like, I guess, I don't know. It's a lot of questions. That's an upload. That's a topic for another day, for another upload of Real Talk Vlogs. Maybe
It is.
Model Y Performance will figure out how to put a manual in something.
I think one of the things that is actually going to push it is drifting. You need to be able to push in the clutch when you rip the e-brake to initiate, right? You gotta be able to disconnect the engine, because if you rip the e-brake while the transmission's connected to the motor and you try and stall the wheels, you're trying to stall the motor then, and that's really hard on the electric motor.
So, can I ask you a theoretical here? If you were to take a string, like a sequential or your handbrake, and attach a string gauge to your handbrake, and ran a twin clutch system out of, say, like a DSG, and put the whole shit show together, you could have a computer control it.
So, yeah, the ability for computers nowadays is just insane. But what I think is you're probably going to see is DTCs.
What's that?
Or DCTs, sorry, dual clutch transmissions.
Oh, okay.
You're going to see hybrids with dual clutch transmissions. You're going to see a lot of that come out. Just look at the hypercars, right, and see what's going to trickle down from there.
That makes sense. It's kind of like the Mercedes is 10 years ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, like laser radar, that kind of stuff. That gets so many things, right? But it was really ahead of its time when it came out. That kind of stuff gets trickled down to little guys like you and me. And sometimes the racers are the pioneers, so maybe Le Mans or whatnot will pioneer some racing technology for those clutch disconnects on electrics. You gotta also think from a hybrid standpoint, you don't have to have the electric motor after the gas motor. It can be on the gas motor. You can have it in various locations on the gas motor too. You can have it on the serpentine drive. You can have it attached to the flywheel and disconnect with clutches. You can connect it to the output of the transmission, and it could be there, or it could be down at the wheels. It could be on the hubs. And the motors could be out there, or it could be at the rear differential. There's a
Could
lot
it be
of places
part of the differential?
Electric rear differentials on like a gas vehicle setup, I think, is a beautiful way to get a lot of trucks into hybrids relatively simply and quickly. Just being able to integrate it into the space that's there.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like replace the entire, like if you were to do it to theoretically a semi, like the entire air ride, everything, all of that's gone. Like here is a bolt-in application. If there's anybody ever listening in the industry, I don't know if that's a thing or not, but somebody could probably make $1 million with that or two. Like,
you want to make your technology adaptable to the current situation without making it too painful.
Yeah, because you also then got to adapt it to the whole infrastructure. If people want to, companies want to upgrade old tech.
There's this whole charging infrastructure is another side of it.
Yeah, now, hey, the electrical grid cannot support all of these vehicles inside the United States. Dude. It's a good thing it's cut out right now, so he's probably saying something that we shouldn't know or hear. This is the AI muting us right now.
So bad.
Keep trying. Here we go. I got it. All right. Electric infrastructure is a challenge. Let's just put it that way.
Touche.
It's a challenge.
All right, Mr. Boomer.
I'm scared to see what happens in the future with EVs. And I'm more excited than I am scared.
That's fair. I think that's a uniform opinion. Kind of with a lot of the automotive enthusiasts is we all see the potential that electrification is bringing, and we're excited about the performance that goes with it. But there's a lot of holes in the development plan that still exist.
Yo, who remembers slot car racing?
Oh, that was awesome.
No CX racing kit for your Tesla motor yet. Once there is, then maybe we'll be doing it.
A CX.
Right.
That's so good.
On a humorous note, Boomer, it's been a lot of fun having you on the podcast this week, and we look forward to catching up with you at all the events in the future, and carry on to great projects and fatherhood and whatnot. So,
Hey, if anybody wants to catch Mr. Boomer's jet cut, plug yourself here, Boomer. Your products. You got 10 seconds. Go. 15.
Bob Lymon's on Instagram and Faceballs. MeowS4 is my personal, but I do a lot of fun stuff there too. If you like EVs and want to see what cool stuff we're doing with EVs, check out Model Lymon's.
There we
Good
go.
stuff.
Speaking like a true pro. All right, guys. Well, on that,
it's good to have you, buddy, and we will catch you on the flip side.
bye, bud. Oh, Steve. Oh, and Steve left us, I guess, or he forgot to say that, we still got to do outro. Oh, yep, he definitely left. All right. Well, wait, is he coming back? All right, guys, well, that's another upload of Real Talk Vlogs. Thank you for watching, and you can find this, and you can find us every Friday on your weekly commute, where we just are two guys who talk shit, have a little bit of fun, drink a cup of water, and talking about. So, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one. Peace. I'm Audi. Steve's already gone.